Good morning, friends. It looks like we are a pretty full house yet again. It's so exciting to see so many folks here. So I will just ask all of you to look around you, especially if you see some latecomers pop in the doors, and if you have some extra seats near you, you will not disturb anything. If you go to them, wave to them, send them over here, tell them you have seats, okay? So we can make sure that we have seating for everybody. I know we have it in here. It's hard to see when you walk in the doors, though. So welcome. Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are a spiritually diverse, justice-seeking religious community proclaiming the power of love at the center of our living tradition. Love of neighbor, love for ourselves, and love for our planet. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Whoever you love, however you identify, you are welcome here. Whatever faiths you have known, if any, whatever doubts you carry, you are welcome here. I'm the Reverend Sara LaWall. I use she, her pronouns. It's my great honor to serve as your minister of this beloved community. Today I'm joined by Justin Blauch, who is serving as our celebrant. And we are excited to welcome special guests, the Open Arms Dance Project, with us here this morning with a special treat for our centering music. I want to take a moment to welcome our online community, those worshiping with us by Zoom. Let's turn and wave on our cameras. And friends on Zoom, if you're able to turn on your cameras for a moment, we'd love to see your beautiful faces here among us on our screens. Good morning, Steve and Diane. Good morning, John. It's good to see so many folks out there. Good morning, KJ and Miriam and Dave. Great to see you. Some of your names I can't see very well, so good morning. Good morning, Edith. It's wonderful to see your faces. I love your waves. Thank you for joining us online, for reminding us that we worship together as one beloved community beyond the walls of this fellowship. A special welcome to our newcomers among us, those who are joining us for the first or second time. Welcome. We know it takes a lot of courage to check out a new community, and we're so glad you've chosen us this morning. We hope that you will introduce yourselves to us after the service during our hospitality time and online in the chat so that we can warmly welcome you. We invite you to fill out newcomer cards, which are located in each entryway, so that we can keep you up to date with all that is happening in our fellowship, and we will post a link to that newcomer form in the chat. I do have some announcements today. First, I want to remind the community that today we gather together for our winter town hall to continue the conversation about our Chelan property, the property that exists behind the grove over there. So the board will share some important information with you as we work towards making a final decision about what to do with this property at our May annual meeting. And I am happy to welcome Ann Sabin up to the pulpit, who has a special announcement about our upcoming auction.
Hi, folks. So yeah, auction. Very, very cool thing. Other than just like a huge fun party, it is also our biggest single event fundraiser to support our church and the people who support us. So that's kind of like the thing that's in the background. And the best part is that you can have a party while doing that. And in this culture, we're taught that it's no fun to support people. So we really want to change that, that mojo. This is really, really fun. Okay, this is the first live auction since 2020. So we had the auction, it was awesome, everything shut down, and there are still people that I owe a dinner to from 2020. Patty Rayna, wherever are you? I got you covered. So this is, and it's really cool. I don't know, how many in here have experienced a live auction anywhere? Oh, a fair number. I'm glad I chose to do that one rather than the never, because you don't want to go like that. So, but it's worth it whether or not you're bidding. Whether or not you've got somebody in your congregation that yells $100 at the beginning of every single item to make sure the bid gets started. It's cool stuff, and it's cool stuff generated from the hearts of the community, and not just this community, but people in the in the valley, people, small businesses, and it's really, really cool stuff. So we do have an online auction, and there's a lot of stuff there, a lot of auction. We pick and choose. And what I want to share with you is we have an auctioneer, Kevin Trout. Kevin has been our live auctioneer at least 2 times. I don't know how many more, but if you didn't know, you're not just hiring a person to stand up here and call. You're hiring advice a month or more in advance. You're hiring an hour or meeting with your auction chair to help you curate those items. And Kevin is a nonprofit auctioneer, so he knows what that's about. So we're going to be able to draw on him. My spouse, Matthew, is meeting with him next week to talk about what we're actually going to pin down as live auction items, but this is the sort of thing you can expect. So my absolutely favorite one is I want you to go back to your childhood when that popular kid had the pool party and you were not invited. We have a pool party. You can make it up and recover your sense of self right here at our auction. Okay, on top of that, we've got an e-bike. The dang thing's in my garage and it's brand spanking new. We've got a Garden Valley cabin. We've got a backpacking trip. It's that sort of thing that shows up at a live auction, and it's just a really, really fun time. It's even more fun than the presentation I just did, so you want to keep that in mind. You'll be getting information. This is not the spot to give the details about when and how. That's emails. You're going to find out when. You're going to find out how to sign up, etc. Right now, I just wanted to share, if you haven't been to the live auction, you don't want to miss it. If you have been, you know what it's like. Thank you.
What cool items we have, friends. I understand that the online platform will open up a couple of days before it goes live so you can preview and make a plan. That's what I do. And also, you know, those of you that are technologically savvy, that online platform lives right in your pocket at all times, so any point during the day, you can just bid. It's a really beautiful procrastinating opportunity when one is writing a sermon and doesn't know what to say. I just start spending money on the auction instead. It's great. Thank you, Anne and Matthew and auction team leaders for working on that this year. Very exciting. Oh, I have one more quick announcement that I want to share. There is a downsizing, right-sizing, and decluttering workshop happening this Friday on Valentine's Day. I mean, perfect, right? Whether you're an empty nester, or you're moving, or you're looking to move into a retirement community, or helping your parents or others move, join us here in the South Wing Friday at 1 p.m. If you have questions, you can chat with Patty Nakaoki. Patty, wave your hand wildly so people can see you down front right here. And we'd love to see you there for that. We begin our worship time together each week, centering ourselves, grounding ourselves by lighting our flaming chalice. At this hour, in small towns and big cities, in living rooms and ornate sanctuaries, many of our sibling Unitarian Universalists are also lighting a flaming chalice, reminding us that we are part of a great community of faith and love. As we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you with us in our virtual community to light a chalice or a candle, if you have one nearby, with us this morning, and then share in the chat where it is you have lit your chalice this morning. I love enthusiasm for the chalice lighting. Let's all sing together. I invite you to rise and body your spirit and sing together our gathering hymn, number 315 in the gray hymnal, and words on the screen, This Old World.
We come from and live on land considered sacred by many indigenous peoples, known as Bannock, Shoshone, Paiute, and many other tribes that lived here sustainably for thousands of years, inhabiting a vast region including much of Idaho.
We recognize the long history of the land, long before colonization, and acknowledge the ancient tribes whose names have been lost in history.
With this acknowledgement, we wish to demonstrate our commitment to dismantling the legacies of settler colonialism. We honor Indigenous peoples' connection to the land and support their right to sovereignty.
In the challenges of these truths, may we move through the world bringing justice in every way that we can, listening to the truths spoken to us by Native American peoples, making space for them to re-inhabit this place, and giving them back the resources they need to heal their communities.
Our spiritual theme for this month of February is living love through the practice of inclusion. Today's service explores how we might understand love as the best measure of that practice as we continue to build the beloved community. As we enter into this time of worship together, let us take a moment to breathe together. Fill your body with breath. Breathe, knowing that our breath connects us to one another, to our bodies, to our planet. Our breath offers us an opportunity for stillness, to tune in to our spiritual center, to listen deeply to our heart's own longing. As you hear the words of our opening poem this morning, I invite you to hear those thines and thous as expressed to inclusion. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-riven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep, to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream.
Good morning. Now we have a very special performance by the Open Arms Dance Project. We're going to explore inclusion through movement and dance.
Hello, everyone. Our Open Arms Dance Project values: Everyone is welcome as they are with open arms.
We treat each other as equals, we celebrate each other, and we lift each other up with kindness.
We reject a hierarchy of helpers and those who need help. We all need support sometimes. We all can offer support sometimes. There are no volunteer versus participants. We are all equal members contributing everything we can.
When we walk through the studio doors, we are ready to work hard at the edge of where we are comfortable. We are ready to be present and let creativity guide us.
Everyone is giving of their best self. All of us have unique personalities, experiences, skills, and perspectives to contribute.
We are here for reasons that are bigger than ourselves. We are here not only to be with friends and have fun dancing, but also to move culture forward by demonstrating radical acceptance and compassion in how we interact with each other. Our mission is creating greater joy and compassion with dance that opens hearts, minds, and arms.
Our vision is empowering a diversity of people to share their unique creative expression through equitable, collaborative dance making that has the ability to transform communities.
I would brave the dark to be next to you, mend your broken heart with tape and glue. Please hear my call when I say your name. I know you're feeling small, I know you're not the same. I'll hold you tight, this new version of you. Stand in the light with your heartache in view, and send a signal out for all to see. 'Cause you can't change what you're meant to be. You'll always be my North Star, 'cause I already know who you are. Don't wipe your slate, no it's not too late. Not only stains will remain. Fall in my arms, I'll do no harm. You're safe with me, love you tenderly. I'll hold you tight, this new version of you. Stand in the light with your heartache in view, and send a signal out for all to see. 'Cause you can't change what you're meant to be. You'll always be my North Star, 'cause I already know who you are. So send a signal out for all to to be. You'll always be my North Star, 'cause I already know who you are. I already know who you are.
Thank you, Open Arms Dance Project. That was beautiful. Special thank you to Megan Brendel, their director, and all of our booth dancers. What a beautiful joint effort it was to see you all. But Megan and I have been talking about this for a while now, so we are so delighted it worked out today. Thank you for sharing your gifts and talents with us this morning.
Our call to worship this morning is adapted from Rosemary Watola Tomer. At least we can say it's okay to be scared to the marrow and still show up wholehearted. No shame it took so long to learn this truth, just giddy relief to finally trust. We can be clenched like a hedgehog or poised as a snake and still be open to finding love at the center of what scares us. And when we find no sprig of love there, that is the chance to offer love to the world any way that we know how. With a gift, with our time, with words, with touch, or with a simple act of kindness. And if we find we have no love to muster, then that is a chance to plant seeds of love in whatever soil we find. And amend the ground and bring light, bring water. Come, let us worship together. With our promise of building beloved community, we celebrate our commitments to being a multi-generational community, a community of generosity and a community of care and connection. In that spirit, I'd like to invite our children up front for the time for all ages.
Good group today. How's everyone doing? All right. So I'm Travis, the Director of Religious Exploration, and welcome today. And we are going to look at a book today that Reverend Sara and I were looking at that thought met the themes of what we're talking about perfectly. And it's a book called Sulaway, and it's by a woman named Lupita Nyong'o. She's a famous actress. You may have seen her in movies. But she was inspired to write this book because of her own story. And has anybody ever heard of a word called colorism? Colorism. Any ideas? It's fine. So it's the idea, well, we all know that people, unfortunately, are often treated differently, right? Because the color of their skin. We might say someone's white or brown or black. But colorism is actually the idea that people are treated differently because of the shades of their skin. The shades. And this is her story about being born darker than her family, than many of the people around her, and was treated differently because of it. And for a lot of her life as a young girl, she felt different. She wanted to change the shade of her skin. And this is a story about how she learned to love herself, her inner beauty, to show kindness and confidence in seeing the light in ourselves. So let's play. We're actually going to watch a video of the author reading the book. So it's going to be on either of the screens here.
Let's be like Sulwe, friends. Let's sing together our community blessing as we bless our young people off to their religious exploration classes. Know where we're going. Younger elementary school, follow Travis. Youth, out that way. Junior high, high school youth, out that way. Choose your own adventure. I love the message of that book. It is the message of our theme for the month. Inclusion is practicing, reminding each other and everyone in our midst, we need you just the way you are. And in the work of inclusion, we dedicate ourselves to collective liberation and thriving for all people, building on the legacy of those whose stories go untold and the continued learning and unlearning with which we must engage. We make space during our service for generosity, for the Spirit to move us to give to this self-sustaining community, to give in alignment with our values, ideals, and highest aspirations, building up a world of radical welcome and love. And we delight that a portion of our weekly offering can support our monthly plate partner, this month our own racial justice ministry, which supports our ongoing commitment to dismantling systemic racism and other oppressions on our journey towards spiritual wholeness while building multicultural, beloved community. We thank you for your generous giving today and always. I invite our ushers to come forward. Our offering will now be gratefully received. As our ushers bring our offering gifts forward, I invite us all to join together in the collective blessing of our offering this morning. We bless these gifts so freely given. May generosity always be our companion as we walk the holy path toward ever greater compassion and beauty.
Our reading this morning is Unity in Diversity by Sam Yao. 14 billion years ago, you and I were born of stardust from the explosive expansion of the singularity. We shared 99.9% of our genes, co-evolved with all of life in this rich biosphere of amazing beauty and diversity. Formless divinity preceded the creation of form, imbued it with and enveloped it in infinite love. Buried a spark in each of us, a light to guide us to our source, which is how the human mind discovers the elegant simplicity of mathematics that hold the secrets of the universe, which is how the human heart knows we are deeply connected to all humanity, to our divine origin, to our collective imagination, and manifestation of our future in a glorious web. Let's rejoice in uniqueness, the intimacy in sameness, the admiration of difference. Each of us, a star shining in the tapestry of galaxies in the celestial dome. I invite you to rise and embody your spirit and sing together hymn number 131 in your gray hymnal with words on the screen. Love will guide us.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite hymns in our hymnal. Is a mantra for these days, friends. I invite you to carry it with you and repeat it daily. Love will guide us through this hard night. Even if you're not sure you believe it, just keep saying it out loud. In the summer of 2020, at the height of COVID's intensity and shutdowns, and just after the brutal murder of George Floyd, I joined a small group of activists supporting organizing efforts and local community responses. We were not the organizers of the events, but we were asked to help provide various support needs, recruiting safety teams, holding the perimeter at events, being police liaisons, providing community care. And it was during that time that I got to know one local organizer here in Boise. Their name was Nish. I'd met Nish a few times working on various other advocacy projects in the legislature, but I did not know them particularly well. This summer, however, Nish would attend our local organizing meetings every week, and I had the chance to really watch them in action. Nish was a well-known local activist, community organizer, resistance agitator, a beloved human who, in their own words, goes wherever the resistance takes them. They were one of several young organizers leading protest efforts in 2020, organizing marches and rallies, and the Juneteenth celebration, which that year was offered only to people of color, while many of us white advocates and supporters held space outside the event, ready to offer support and care if it was needed. Not only was Nish invested in offering spaces of connection and care for their community of Black, Indigenous, people of color, but Nish was just as invested in supporting and offering spaces for non-Black folks to understand and offer their own support and expand our own learning. Every time that summer I saw Nish at a gathering or in a Zoom call or spoke to them on the phone, they would always greet me by saying, "Hello, beloved," every time. And they greeted everyone this way, with deep sincerity and authenticity. It wasn't some contrived, saccharine greeting. And it took me by surprise at first, this greeting. I am embarrassed to admit I found it mildly uncomfortable. It felt so intimate, and I did not know Nish that well. But the more I thought about it, the more I began to interrogate my own feelings of discomfort, realizing that maybe my reaction was just the result of some unexamined puritanical societal norms. Isn't everything? And I began to wonder what would happen if I just let myself receive the greeting, just opened up to be totally present to receiving this very intimate greeting. What would happen? So I tried. I did. I worked on just letting go of that bit of defensive armor we all wear, especially in unfamiliar situations. I worked on opening my heart and relaxing my body, which allowed me to actually receive the love Nish was offering in their greeting. And it felt beautiful and powerful. Here was this young, Black, queer organizer in a moment when the anger and fear in the Black community, especially understandably toward white folks, was so high. When white folks in organizing spaces were regularly being told to check their privilege and back up, here was Nish offering love, calling all of us beloved. It took a while, but then I began using the greeting in return. First, only with Nish, and then slowly but surely, it became a regular part of my vocabulary, and now I say it all the time with abandon. Surely you hear it on Sunday mornings in my sermons, because there is no better word, especially in these times. Nish calling me beloved invited me to remember my own belovedness. In fact, all she was doing was reflecting it back to me. And sometimes it takes someone else to remind us of our inherent worth. And right now, when our government is trying so hard to strip entire swaths of people of their inherent worth, we need that reminder in any and every form it comes. If I am beloved, then so are you. If you are beloved, then so am I. Beloved is also a biblical word, appearing in both the Hebrew and Christian Bible, and most often used to proclaim that we are all a beloved child of God. Now, I know that there are some of you that have a little discomfort in that overtly religious language, but stay with me for a minute. Because this very concept of belovedness lies at the heart of the development and evolution of our universalist theology and heritage. It is this deep understanding of belovedness, of God's unconditional love, that led to the proclamation of universal salvation, a theological position that may seem obvious to us now, but heresy in its time. And as a faith tradition without a creed, as a faith tradition that has never had a creed, love has become a central guiding tenet of our theology. Universalist minister, the Reverend L. Griswold Adams, wrote this covenant in 1933. It began with the words, "Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer." And love remains the animating force of our contemporary Unitarian Universalist theology, now expressed at the very center of our 6 values, still very much the doctrine of this church. Today, we might articulate belovedness as inherent worth and dignity, that each person is worthy of love, full stop, no strings attached, just the way they are. And as a culture, we spend so much time measuring our worth. We measure our wealth, how much money we make or don't make. We measure our productivity. We measure our skills and talents. We measure success and achievements. We measure our looks and our bodies. And even in important, really important programs and policies that seek greater inclusion, we still measure the data. How many people are served? Our racial and ethnic and gender demographics. And in the quest for greater equality, these statistics are very important to track. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but we can get hyper-fixated on the data and forget the underlying force fueling the good work. We forget to measure in love. Beloved community, animated by this overflowing love for all people, a community that seeks the fullest unfolding of every single person, that kind of beloved community was the vision of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a global vision fueled by human decency, free from racism, poverty, bigotry, and discrimination, and replaced by an all-inclusive spirit of love. And Dr. King described that love as agape love, an understanding, redeeming goodwill for all, he said, overflowing love which is purely spontaneous, unmotivated, groundless, and creative, the love of God operating in the human heart. He said, agape does not begin by discriminating between worthy and unworthy people. It begins by loving others for their sakes and makes no distinction between a friend and enemy. Agape love is seeking to preserve and create community. That is the kind of love by which I want us to measure ourselves, our communities. The kind of love that both inspires and requires action. The kind of love that demands justice, equity, and inclusion. The kind of love that asks us to take risks to protect one another. The kind of love that centers community care and connection, reminding us to keep connected and carry each other. The kind of love that demands a discipline of hope. That is the love which I now know Nish wanted all of us to measure ourselves and our work, speaking it into being with their greeting, "Hello, beloved." We are engaging in soul work together, and there is no better word. So, beloveds, let us not measure ourselves and our lives and our communities by some external worth. Let us measure only in love. May it be so. I invite you all to join together in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Let yourself sink in to your belovedness. Spirit of life and love, holy mystery. let us commit to changing the world with our love, with simple acts and bold proclamations, with tiny rituals and grand gestures, with hearts and arms wide open. Let us live love through the practice of inclusion, stretching ourselves to welcome those in harm's way, those seeking refuge, seeking community, seeking sanctuary, and committing ourselves to their protection and care. Let us heed love's call to not merely stand by as a refuge, but to unleash love's countercultural force within us. Let us measure our lives in the love we give and in the love we must allow ourselves to receive. Let us continue to become love's vessels, vessels of comfort and compassion, vessels of peace and justice, vessels of hope and healing. In the name of all that is holy, we pray. Amen. As part of our community time together, we have a special celebration today, a celebration measured in love, because 1 year ago, almost to the day, we announced our intention to embark upon a capital campaign and asked you, our beloved congregation, to vote to endorse that endeavor. You did. The vote to install a new heating and cooling system consistent with our green sanctuary goals and becoming a carbon neutral community, to remodel this sanctuary into a safer, more serene place and bolster our building maintenance fund. And at the time, we all thought it would be a bit of a stretch to raise $1.1 million, but we did it. Remember the song, "Hey, we raised $1 million," and your generosity made it possible for us to build a new way and fulfill a long-time vision. So today we are excited to announce the culmination of this successful capital campaign. And so on this 1-year anniversary, we want to take a moment to acknowledge the phenomenal team of leaders who beautifully, expertly shepherded us through that successful end. And I want to invite them to come and join me here up front, please. So, Capital Campaign team leaders, Nick Kofod, Andrew Burton, Roger Sherman, Jim Gettings, and Patty Hedges, would you please come on up here? We have some gifts for you. As they're coming up, come on up behind me, friends. Come on up here. Put yourselves all the way down. I also want to take a moment while they're coming up here and receiving their gifts. We've got our board president, who was the board president last year, Jan Salisbury, here to deliver some gifts, and Rob can go to deliver some gifts. You can start handing those out. Yeah. I want to take a moment also to acknowledge the more than 20, I think, Andrew, more than 20 or 30 stewards, visiting stewards out there. Raise your hand if you were a visiting steward. Yes, stewards, yes. We could not have done it without you either. There was so much work involved in leading such an ambitious campaign and having it culminate in such a short period of time, like 2 months, friends. And this campaign, as some of you may or may not remember, earned 25% more than what our feasibility study projected we could raise. So, hey now. That is a testament to the love and commitment this leadership team demonstrated in themselves and inspired in the rest of us. Your dedication and tireless effort was most definitely measured in love. And that love took on many forms. It was also measured in meetings, in memos, in mailings, in cups of coffee, in brochures, in sketches, in asking for pledges. We stretched ourselves to show that we care. And our story doesn't end here. We celebrate and remember a year in the life of this community, creating a legacy that will live on thanks to you. Today, we celebrate the seasons of love that brought us here this past year, the 525,600 minutes. stay up here if you want. That's true. I know we didn't practice that part. I invite you to place your hands over your heart, and I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our closing blessing. Beloveds, never stop measuring yourself, your life, this community, this world in love. We need it. Our beloveds need it. Blessed are we all. Go in peace.